And for more details, my colleague Tianwei joins me from the two sessions. Well, Tianwei, good evening.
Good evening,
I know you've been following this government report for many years. What is the highlights of this year's report? What is your takeaway?
Thank you, Zhou. Well, as you mentioned earlier, this time the GDP number is not just a single number, but rather a range from 6.5 to 7%. It is a reflection, many say. Still, China is looking at development as the primary goal. However, it is also in a way pragmatic, at the same time a bit optimistic to give the number from 6.5 to 7%. It is relatively a very delicate balance between guarantee economic growth for the short term, while at the same time looking at China's possibility for structural reforms, give some space for that possibility. Having said that, though, there has been a lot of other numbers that we need to look at when you look at this government work report. GDP number used to be the only one, especially for those from outside China, to look at China's economy as the primary indicator. But now, according to the Chinese Premier Li Keqiang in his government work report, the employment number is also extremely important. In his government work report, he talked about what kind of job opportunities need to be created. After all, it is extremely important where does growth come from and whom the growth is going to serve for. Another point we need to look at, which is other very important economic indicators. For example, about deficit. This time, for the very first time, the deficit number has been set to about 3%. That is quite a difference from previous years. None has exceeded 2%. And finally, there's also possibility of tax cut. As we all know, private enterprise in this country are looking forward to that opportunity. Back to you.
And I believe you've been talking to many lawmakers. They are supposed to delve deep into this report and have a final vote at the end of the discussions. Are they having consensus of where China's economy is going and also other social policies?
The government work report is almost like a State of the Union address from the Chinese Prime Minister every year at the China's Parliament season. But the most important thing, I've been talking to some of those from the scientific and technological development circles. They are rather encouraged by what is being said, at least in the area of scientific and technological development. For example, the Premier in the government work report talking about by the year 2020, the contribution from this area to the GDP growth might be as big as 60%, 60. That's a very impressive number. Meanwhile, the Premier in the government report specifically mentioned about the development in China's scientific research. It is the basic science, the applied research, as well as some of the most important strategic frontier research. As we all know, China wants to make itself an innovative nation, want to make itself a country that's going to attract not only domestic talents, but also from all over the world. This is really the starting point. One final point I want to give before we go, that is, just look at what the Chinese are fascinating about. If you look at the Chinese chat rooms and also social media debates, one of the biggest news of the year is gravitational waves. That is certainly something astronomical, and yet for many of the Chinese, it's extremely fascinating. So once again, it seems science is already becoming some of the most interesting topics for general public, and science is so cool these days in China. Back to you.
All right. Thank you for your perspectives, Tianwei.